Hello, Ronald Warren here. Imagine if a pastor was asked if his church considered racial discrimination a sin, and he responded by saying, people have to live their own convictions. Well, believe it or not, this happened. Well, sort of. Except the question was not about racial discrimination, but abortion. Carl Lentz, pastor of Hillsong Church in New York City, recently made headlines for all the wrong reasons when he failed to firmly condemn abortion during his appearance on the popular TV show The View. Host Joy Behar, who has never been shy about her support for abortion, asked Lentz, "So, it's not a sin in your church to have an abortion?" Lentz responded, "That's the kind of conversation we would have finding out your story, where you're from, what you believe. I mean, God's the judge. People have to live their own convictions." This was a perfect opportunity for Pastor Lentz to speak truth to the culture. Unfortunately, this was a missed opportunity, one that the audience celebrated with applause. You see, too often conversations in our culture about Christianity focus on the sin side of the equation. There is no shortage of debate about whether or not sin exists, what qualifies as sin, or how we should condemn it. On the other side of the coin, there aren't nearly enough conversations about grace, which should be an enormous part of the church's response and responsibility towards sin. If a grace-filled response to the sin of abortion was what Lentz had in mind when he was trying to avoid the question about sin, his response could have been more like this. That's a great question, Joy. In our church, we believe that the intentional taking of an innocent human life is wrong. It is sin. But we also provide unconditional love and support to pregnant women, their unborn children, and the fathers of their children in order to walk alongside them so they can bring their children into the world and have what they need to support their decision. We surround them with compassion so they can live out the fullness of their Christian faith in both love and truth. What a response this would have been. My guess is that the host and the audience would have been pretty quiet had he said something like that. In fairness, and thankfully, Pastor Lentz came out a few days after his initial interview and clarified that he does believe abortion is a sin. But the point still stands. His response tended to focus on sin alone and not how his church or any church should respond to it. Indeed, one of the main reasons a typical pastor has a hard time responding in this way about abortion is that they usually don't have an organized ministry response to unplanned pregnancies or abortion in the church. Because our culture has framed abortion as a political issue, pastors too often get timid when asked questions about it. They don't want to become political or come across as unloving. But love at its core is truth and compassion in balance, and we saw this modeled by Christ's response to the woman at the well and the rich young ruler. That's why CareNet launched a church outreach and engagement initiative called Making Life Disciples to equip the church to offer compassion, hope, help, and discipleship to women and men considering abortion, to take politics out of the equation and give the church the opportunity to do what it's designed for, helping people and making disciples for Jesus Christ. My hope is that in the not too distant future, churches all over the country will have life-affirming ministries in their churches that serve those considering abortion, so that when they're asked if abortion is a sin, they will have confidence and conviction to speak both truth and love about sin and grace. That their church is a place where the sin of abortion has been overcome by the power of love rooted in Jesus Christ. Amen? Until next time, may God bless you daily as you serve Him faithfully.